Welcome back to the Knights Book Club podcast. My name is Mason Knight. Sitting across from me is my sister. Kylie Knight with the fresh new cut. Are you kidding me or what? Look at that haircut. Aw, looks really good. You can barely tell with the headphones, probably.
Yeah.
Probably not, but...
And the black hoodie.
And the black hoodie, yeah. We are back, Kylie. Once again, this is part 3 of 5 books in this series that we are reviewing. This one is Wolfhunter River by Rachel Caine. As you guys know, the date published for this was April 23rd, 2019. Kylie, do you want to give a little bit of the author's background? This is something we do every time, even if you guys have heard it twice already in the third installment. We like to give the background of the authors, kind of learn a little bit about them. So go ahead, Kylie.
She has a bachelor's degree in accounting from Rouse College of Business at Texas Tech University in 1985. She minored in music. Caine has written and published novels and short stories since 1990. She was actually a professional musician who played with Henry Mancini, Peter Nero, and John Williams.
Yes.
Unfortunately, though, in 2018, that's her married name,
Right.
Conrad. She was diagnosed with a soft tissue sarcoma, and she passed away on November 1st of 2020.
Yes, as we've talked about twice now, very sad to see of her passing in 2020. Condolences to the family.
Definitely.
The page count for this is 334 pages. Audible time is roughly 11 hours with some change. The genre for this is thriller, mystery, and suspense. So now for the dramatic synopsis.
Oh, Lord. Here we go.
Gwen Proctor escaped her serial killer husband and saved her family. What she can't seem to outrun is his notoriety, or the sick internet vigilantes still seeking to avenge his crimes. For Gwen, hiding isn't an option. Not when her only mission is to create a normal life for her kids. But now, a threatened woman has reached out. Marlene Crockett, from the remote town of Wolfhunter, is panicked for herself and her daughter. When Gwen arrives in a small, isolated rural community, Marlene is already dead. Her own daughter blamed for the murder, except that's not the person Marlene feared at all. And Gwen isn't leaving until she finds out who that was. But it may already be too late. A trap has been set, and it's poised to snap shut on everyone Gwen loves. Her stalkers are closing in, and in a town as dark as Wolfhunter, it's so easy for them to hide.
Oh, my word. You're so dramatic.
It's just so much fun. It's going to be a staple of this podcast. I will read every synopsis.
Maybe I should take over.
No, absolutely not. I'm telling you right now. It's great narration on my part. And what better way to hear a synopsis than in a very grounded voice
Very
like that?
early 2000s, movie
Yes,
trailer.
yeah, it is. That is why I read it like this. In a world.
In a world.
You
know, it sounds like is it High Sci?
Yeah, High Sci. Yeah. I may have taken my inspiration from Chuck Fresh.
Oh, no, really?
Maybe just a little bit. So yes, again, the third installment of Rachel Caine's Stillhouse Lake. This book, obviously, as we mentioned before, is called Wolfhunter River. And this is kind of... we're
It's a great way to make your dog start barking.
Yeah, I know, as if you can't hear him whining already. But yeah, this is kind of a buffer in between, because obviously now we've realized after the second book that Melvin Royal has been shot in the face and he's no longer with us and may rot in hell. Well, evil serial killer, don't have much empathy or sympathy for that evil man. But Melvin is dead. And of course, we've come to find out that Gwen has been exonerated from all the crimes. And they said justified shooting. And, by the way, cop pulls her over. He's like, by the way, great shot. Great shot. Right in the temple. Definitely didn't walk that one off. So I got to say, under the duress that you were in, fantastic shot. But you know what? Practice makes perfect. We do know that Gwen is a very protective mom. And she really does care about her kids, and she goes to the gun range quite a bit and practices that rage.
I love that. That's one of my favorite parts about her character is that even though she knows like Melvin's gone and what's the Absalom?
Yeah, Absalom.
And
yes.
like that's over. She's still like there's still people out there who are fanatics of Melvin's crimes and stuff, and she still wants her kids and stuff. And you know her security system at her house. I was like, sounds like Simply Safe.
Yeah, I know it might be an ad for that. No, I know, but goodness gracious, she really goes to crazy lengths. But it's not really crazy because in this book, apparently, even though she's been exonerated multiple times, for some odd reason, random people still think that she's guilty of Melvin's horrific crimes, which is weird. And that's where we jump into the third book, the very beginning of it, Mikhaili, where Gwen has decided to go on TV to tell her side of the story, right? Mm-hmm. And she wants to clear the air up in hopes that, everything's tip-top magoo. She can go back to her normal life. People are finally going to believe her. But of course, she goes on a TV show. She gets interviewed by this host, and the host does not like her.
No, and so during this part of the book, though, when she was like, it's in Gwen's perspective, obviously, and she was just sitting up on the stage waiting. The host wasn't talking to her. Nobody was talking to her, and I was like, what is this?
I don't know.
Like,
in this
what?
In this weird world that Rachel Caine has built, which she's done a good job, don't get me wrong, but in this world that she built, apparently it's just unforgivable. And you cannot forgive a woman to just being associated and being married with a crazy, horrific serial killer, even though it is very clear at this point Gwen and her children had nothing to do with any of the murders. It baffles me. Yeah. It really baffles me just how vindictive and mean people are. And speaking of mean and vindictive people, we must talk about what happens on this TV show.
Oh, my Lord.
So, of course, this host is a little sleazeball, and they pull out Miranda. Now, Miranda Tidwell, whatever.
Yeah, Tidwell.
Her daughter, which you can be very sympathetic for, right, was one of Melvin's victims. And unfortunately, Miranda's daughter did die at the hands, gruesomely, of the hands of Melvin, Gwen's husband. But for some odd reason, ex-husband, yes, I know that's a common theme in the book. That's why I had to say it. That's why I had to do it, Mikhaili. But it's one of those things where it's like you can sympathize with this character up to a point because now Miranda has made it her life to try and ruin Gwen's life.
Yep.
When it's so clear that Gwen's just trying to protect her family, she didn't have anything on it. But then it's, this whole group is created, the Fallen Angels, right? Mm-hmm. That's what it's called.
Yeah.
Right? Fallen Angels. Which unfortunately Sam Cade kind of started.
Yeah, he created the whole thing.
We do find that out in this book. Can someone say awkward? Yeah, made for a very, very tense car ride. But nonetheless, I mean, to be a fly on the wall when that conversation came up. BT Dubs, I created the Fallen Angels and that wanted poster. Yeah, that was me. Yeah, which I think is actually the fourth book, but whatever. At this point, it is what it is. And eventually, with Miranda, she's hell-bent on destroying Gwen's life. And then Gwen just basically says, you know what? I was here to just give my side of the story, but I'm tired of you guys insinuating that I'm some mass criminal who helped organize this when I'm the one who shot Melvin in the face.
Yeah.
Hey, newsflash, everyone. If you're watching at home on TV, Melvin attacked me. He tried to kill me the sadistically same way that he killed all of his other victims, and I shot him in the face for it. So, I mean, I don't know what else you want me to do at this point. Like, that's how I feel like reading these books with Gwen, is it's like, she's at this point now where it's like, okay, I don't know what else to do. What else do you want from me? I mean, I shot the guy in the face. Obviously, I wasn't working with him. He was trying to kill me.
And the guy that was interviewing her literally did not let her speak at all. And he just kept obviously not physically, but he was verbally attacking her, wouldn't let her finish her sentence. Mm-hmm. And it made me so mad because I'm like, let her speak.
Yeah.
Because I mean, we did this, we listened to this book such a long time ago. Did they ask her about when she was kidnapped by him and like what happened?
Well, yeah. And then remember, so Miranda comes out on this TV show and she's like, and now I'm writing a full we're making a full documentary about how Gwen is a guilty accomplice in this, and that, you know, she can get retried, which is not possible because that's double jeopardy. You can't do that. But she goes, unless new evidence is presented. And she's like, blah, 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 I'm making this documentary and I'm going to ruin your life, essentially. It's like, dude, give it up.
Can you just let her live?
You just, yeah, like, I mean, but whatever. She's hell-bent on it. And, yeah, it's one of those things. I don't know.
These people are very vindictive.
Very, very
well,
vindictive.
and it's not only you're going to ruin Gwen's life. She has children. But these people are so gross and just so disgusting that they want to ruin Gwen's kids' life.
Yeah.
Because, yes, they're related to Melvin Royal, but at the same time, it's like they lost their kid and they want Gwen to lose her children. And I'm just like, you guys are freaking crazy. Yeah. Literally crazy.
So we'll kind of just go a brief summary over this entire book, and then we'll kind of talk about a few things and then leave it at that, you know. So basically that happens, right? She goes on the TV and does all that. And then Gwen gets a phone call from a distressed woman on the phone. She doesn't know who she is, but she's asking very vaguely for her help. And, you know, Gwen politely but sternly is like, hey, like, I will help you, but you need to tell me what's going on. And essentially the lady refuses and just hangs up on her.
Yeah.
So now she's confused. She doesn't know what's going on. But one little bit of information she did get from the woman is that she does have a daughter.
Yeah.
But that's basically it. And then later on in the book, she gets another phone call, and it's this girl named V. And she gets a call from V, and her mother's dead. This 15-year-old girl describes that her mother is dead on the floor and that they're coming back to kill her, right? And now
very
Gwen...
monotone.
Yeah, very monotone, very, like, off-putting. And then Gwen is like, okay, now I'm a witness to all this because, you know, V's on the phone with her the whole time. The police show up and they arrest V. So Gwen, in her motherly instincts, decides, you know what, I might as well go check this out. I'm a witness already. Let's kind of figure out what's going on. So in the prologue, and we'll step back a little bit, we come to find out that this little girl named Ellie is kidnapped.
Yeah.
And we don't really know what happened to Ellie, but we do know it was a calculated kidnapping. This wasn't some random child abduction. This was like this little girl gets into the car, the driver switched out, the vehicle looks like her family's car.
There's a code word.
But it's slightly different.
Everything.
There's a code word.
Her teacher was crying because her teacher was involved in it.
Yep. So you start to understand and realize that this is a very calculated kidnapping because her family is somewhat wealthy.
Oh,
well, actually pretty wealthy.
And her family was there the day that she was doing the TV interview.
Right, but she didn't know because she stormed off and she was just so upset with the whole situation. So then, you know, we kind of get all that. But, like, at this point in the book, Mikhaili, as far as I want to ask this question because this was one of the gripes that I had about this book. The first two books kind of set into the world of Melvin Gordon, but now that Melvin Gordon, the football player, Melvin Royal, excuse me, but Melvin Royal, and then obviously with his death, I feel like this book was kind of a buffer in some ways.
It was
to kind of like rebuild where this series was going.
Yeah, it was.
But I felt like for like half the book, you kind of really got to stick with it because it can be a little frustrating because I felt like not a lot of things were going on. It was kind of this vague investigation into V. But like, what were your thoughts like through the first half of the book? Did you have those same thoughts or were you pretty entertained with it?
I wanted to know more about like, I wish this story didn't go, okay, at the beginning, what I wanted this book to be was her investigating Ellie and like Ellie's life and all of that.
Yeah.
I didn't care for V, still don't.
Yeah.
Throughout the rest of the books, don't care about her at all.
Oh, okay.
No, it's just like
No, it's fine.
She's just annoying and she's like, especially in this book, she doesn't give away any detail. It takes forever to get anything out of her. I wanted more about Ellie. I wanted more about Sam and Connor's relationship. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I mean, this book was definitely just a buffer.
Yeah, and I do definitely agree with that. You know, it was kind of surprising to get the prologue with Ellie, and you're like, oh, cool, okay, Gwen's gonna hunt these kidnappers, and then majority of the book dealt with like V and this, which it does tie in. But I don't know. I'm not going to lie here. I was a little bored with the first half of this book. And I was like,
this book was definitely boring. The first half.
The first half. And then the second half of the book really does pick up. And you get a lot of action, a lot of body counts, a lot of killing and stuff like that. And, overall it was all right. But basically what happens is, and we're skipping over a lot of things, but they get this lawyer for V. And his name is Mr. Sparks. And he doesn't seem to care about the case or anything. He's kind of just nonchalant. I got other clients. I'm doing other things. Look, this is pro bono, basically. I'm not getting paid for this. I don't really care, right? And Gwen's getting increasingly irritated with all of this. And there's something a little off about Mr. Sparks. You know, he's starting to ask some weird questions, do some weird things. Guy kind of sounds like a perv to me a little bit. You know, it kind of gives me those pervy vibes. And then come to find out later on in the book, we go through this big thing with V and Ellie, and they're looking for Ellie, and they think for sure Ellie's dead, right?
Yeah.
So let's talk about the Sparks and V thing first. So eventually Gwen realizes, oh my gosh, it was Sparks. And they go to his house, and they think it's his wife, but it's actually his sister.
Yeah.
She's living there.
She's basically a slave stuck in the 1940s.
Mm-hmm. And he's got like this secret chamber where he is kidnapped. And remember,
bookshelf.
There's obviously other girls that have been disappearing in Wolfhunter.
Throughout this book, girls have been disappearing.
Yeah. They've been disappearing, and no one knows what happened to them. You know, your common thriller, all that. Come to find out, this sicko has got like this secret dungeon where he locks these girls up, puts a little glass mirror that you can't break, like bulletproof glass, and he like dresses them in like 1880s outfits. And he's like, well, you disobey me, you don't get food.
They're basically China dolls,
right?
On display.
And it's like Stockholm Syndrome, like you're locked out. Or you're locked in this basement or this dungeon for God knows how long. I mean, poor girls. And they're traumatized by this. And Sparks is just this evil individual who likes to kidnap girls and just look at them and do God knows what. But I don't know. This book was just lackluster for me. I just didn't care.
There were so many different plots.
Yeah, it was kind of convoluted, and I get what they do, because the fourth book I'm very interested to talk about and excited to talk about, because I thought...
Fourth book was really good.
The fourth book was a lot better than this one. But overall, I was kind of just disappointed with this one. And you can tell by our review. I mean, I don't know. I kind of wish the book...
it was just a buffer.
Yeah, it definitely was a buffer.
Definitely moving away from the whole Melvin Royal thing. I mean, in the last two books, he is brought up, but not as heavily as the first two.
So we also have to talk about the side of Sam Cade real quick, because this is actually a really important point of the book. So they get kidnapped with his buddy Mike, the FBI guy, and Miranda. And basically Miranda's talking to Sam because they didn't have a romantic relationship, but they had a relationship by association, meaning both people that they loved were murdered by Melvin Royal. And Miranda's basically like, does she know everything? Does she know everything? You started the Fallen Angels, blah, blah, blah. Is it Fallen Angels? I feel like that's wrong. It's something angels, broken angels, fallen angels, something like that. So am I, but I'm second guessing myself. But
we'll just call it that.
Yeah, for this time. But, she's like, blah, blah, blah. And then, boom, bada bing, bada boom. They give him a decision. Mr. Worldwide. They give him a decision. They say, hey, look. You can either get on that plane and get that job in Florida that we hooked you up with, or you can stay here. But Miranda's like, if you stay here, I will not only ruin her life, but I'll ruin your life. Like an evil supervillain. And Mike's just sitting there like, I got better shit, better things to do. you know, and because he's an FBI agent. Like, he just wants out of here. He's doing this for a friend.
He's over it.
He's uncomfortable. He doesn't like Miranda. And they end up leaving. So this is where things get interesting on the side of Sam Caine. Boom. He gets, he kind of gets captured, but then he realized that Mike and Miranda are with him as well. And the guys who kidnapped Ellie initially, but didn't receive the money for it because of the whole tie-in.
Yep.
They got a guns on them. They're all tied up, and they tell Sam, get up, go do your thing. And he pulls the gun out and shoots Miranda in the head.
Crazy.
And at this point, Sam knows, okay, this is not going to go well. I need to just attack this guy or he's going to shoot all of us. But Miranda does die tragically. But, you know.
Looking at him.
Like,
directly in his eyes.
Yeah, so that was a little crazy. But
I was like, what the heck?
I don't really know what else more to say on this book. It was a buffer. You know, eventually they find Ellie, of course. She's, like, hidden in some, like, pipe tube or whatever. And they back up the tractor, and she's right there. I don't know. I just didn't like this one this much.
I was not
I wasn't a big fan.
I mean, the writing was captivating, but I just, like, wasn't really... It just didn't do it for me.
Yeah.
Which is fine.
Yeah, it's fine.
It's a buffer book.
Yeah, it's a buffer book, and 4 and 5 are better.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot better. But this is, I've got to be honest, this is my least favorite of the 5.
Same.
Far and away. Did not enjoy this one that much, but we got through it. So that's the most important thing.
I mean, it was only like 5-6 hours audible time.
Yeah.
So.
All right. Well, Mikhaili, let's give our reviews here. I guess I'll go first. So the story for me was a little convoluted. It was kind of messy, and I get what they're trying to do. For me, story 3 out of 5 stars. Mm-hmm. I don't think I'll ever give a book a 1 star in my life. I mean, it's got to be so bad that nothing makes sense. For the people on Amazon and Audible, when you leave 1-star reviews, like, I realize that you are very sad individuals who I just don't understand how you could ever give a book 1 star unless it's just so blatantly bad that you just can't help it. But for me, I did not enjoy this book very much, but I still respected a lot of the things in the continuation of the story and just how much time it takes to write a book and how much, you know, mental fortitude it takes. So long story short, 3 out of 5. The narration for me hits a 4 out of 5. Mm-hmm. And then the overall, I'm going to give this book, I'll be gracious here and say 3.5 out of 5 stars. Yeah. How about you?
Story, probably 3 out of 5. Narration, 4.5. It was really good. The only, I'm not trying to be a hater, but the only person that I like, the only character is what I'm trying to say. Yeah. No. The only character that I did not like the narration for was Lanny, because she's so whiny.
Yeah, she can be real whiny.
And I'm like, why are you whining? You're just like speaking a normal sentence that has nothing to do with anything. Anyway.
Well, there's narration in book 5 that I'm going to get to that I had a real problem with.
Yeah, me too.
Gosh.
Overall.
And I love the character. I just hated the narration of book 5.
Overall, 3 stars.
Okay. Well, guys, that is our review for Wolfhunter River, written by Rachel Caine. If you guys like what you've seen here, please be sure to smash that like button, comment below, subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell notifications. We drop videos here every single week reviewing books. And go check out our social medias, Instagram, at Knight's Book Club. We drop our schedule for the books that we're going to be reviewing. This is a book club, so feel free to join with us. Comment below. Let us know. Let us know if you agree with us or disagree. I mean, I was looking online with reviews, and a lot of people were giving this book 4.5, 5 stars. So there are a lot of people who like this book. If you did, let us know why. And become part of the community that we're trying to grow here with reviewing books. Thank you guys so much for watching and listening on all audio podcast formats. Guys, you can literally find us anywhere. Go leave us a review on Audible. Yes. We're on Audible now, Mikhaili.
Wow.
Yes. So go leave us a 5-star review there. It would be greatly appreciated wherever you listen to your podcast. My name is Mason Knight. That is Mikhaili Knight. And until next time.
Bye.